Norfolk, Virginia, United States of America. I walked into the office of Commander Connor McCorey with his auburn hair and striking gray eyes. Connor is a former F-14 pilot and now the commander of one of the United States nuclear aircraft carriers. But during the war, more specifically, he was just an ordinary fighter jock.
The brass wanted a bunch of the branches to get together for one stand-up battle against the dead in the suburb of New York City called Yonkers. The Army and the Air Force brought out everything from the 8 tons and Apaches to the M1 Abrams. Shocked that they brought in almost everything. The Buff was even fucking flying. The Buff is the B-52 for those who don't know. I was stationed on the USS Nimitz itself when we were called in from Norfolk. What the hell were they thinking? I launched my F-14 Tomcat with my radio intercept officer Otter with 2 other Tomcats. We flew over New York, which by then was completely infested with Zach, and began to launch our missiles and guns into the oncoming horde, heading into Yonkers. Man, I wish the brass saw half of the damage we did. Part of the reason why it was so slow for the army guys was because of our airstrikes, but whatever. We turned back, and when we landed, we saw F-35s and other jets taking off from the carriers, but we were told to not engage further. Man, I wish I was able to engage more. I mean, I did. Then the pullout in Miami and several other areas.
Telling me the resource to kill ratio was off for some of the jet fighters?
For the 4th gens, like the F-16, 15, 18, and 14? Yeah. For the 5th gens, like the F-35 and 22? They were pretty spot on, but there was nothing else we could do. I was glad I was able to fly in the cockpit once again during the campaigns to free Europe.
Fort Liberty, North Carolina, United States of America. I look around in the meeting room in Fort Liberty, waiting for former DevGru SEAL Team 6 member Micheal Richardson. Dark hair, green eyes, and like many other special soldiers, a tattoo of his team's emblem on him.
We were in Columbus, Ohio as trails of refugees and Zach. My team was deployed during the retreat west, onset of Great Panic. Insane. Didn't see that many, but as the Great Panic went on and the dead began to move westward after the East Coast fell, the day went from calm to another hellhole by the end of it. When the Blackhawks arrived, I still have nightmares to this day.
Los Angeles, California, United States of America. I enter a police station in Los Angeles. Here I sit down with the commander of SWAT, Bishop Winton, who back during the Great Panic was called in during one of the first outbreaks in Los Angeles.
It was a beautiful morning when I was called into work. While driving, the radio was still talking about the disaster that was the Battle of Yonkers. I thought to myself about how the world was going to hell and how funny it was that sunny California was not affected. Boy, I was wrong.
Indeed. What happened when you arrived in the downtown core?
It was chaos. When my team got downtown, the amount of the dead was still small, but mixed in with the panic, we attacked fast, we fought on and off for hours. That's when we got the call from our commander, who told us that we were to pull back. But by then, we were surrounded by a small horde. That's when we saw an F-14 go low and fire its cannon, hitting a good chunk of them. We were able to get out of there, and we ran out of downtown core. Shortly after the Special Forces units who survived arrived and cleared out the infected, I wish I could have saved more of the civilian population.
Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I knock on the door of the Canadian Foreign Minister's office. He lets me in. His brown eyes look dark as he turns around and guides me to sit down. His name is Alexander Handon.
I was the captain in charge of Canada's own Special Forces unit. Joining Task Force 2. During the reclamation of our country after we fell back to British Columbia, it was how the panic began. We had to fight our way through the country and arrive in BC around 5 months after the fallback. But I have a question for you. Have you seen someone ever turn?
I can't say I have. Please tell me more.
Well, on the way to BC, I think my team was traveling through Alberta at the time. The youngest member of my team was bitten by an infected. The first signs: lack of blood, the gray molding of the skin started. I think a few hours later, he collapsed. He opened his eyes and he was one of them. I had to take the shot. The moment we arrived in the same zone, we all collapsed. I think my team was the only one redeployed when we encountered the LMEs, or rebels as they call themselves. Something that we learned from the campaign that the US took. We made Montreal and reclaimed it. We only knew the war was over when we made it through the intensive battle in St. John's, Newfoundland. We used F-18 Cyclones, Nylas, main battle tanks, and a few American jet fighters. We watched the sun rise on the East Coast, finally reclaiming our own country.
I looked at him with a shocked look. As most people never knew how brutal the Battle of St. John's was, I thanked him and left his office. Norfolk, Virginia, United States of America. I shake Connor McCorey's hand and thank him for his time.
Thank you for hearing my story.
Fort Liberty, North Carolina, United States of America. I look at Micheal in the eyes as he grins.
We fought and won the war. I'm glad to be alive.
Los Angeles, California, United States of America. Bishop Winton glares at me, and I nod at him.
Thank you for allowing the story of the outbreak in Los Angeles to finally be heard.